Hey guys, it's Survivor nights. I mean, yeah, the challenge too, but Survivor's just been, it's just been winning my heart. And we were talking about it earlier. This is episode 9, but in general, I just feel like
it's been so consistent.
So good. And it gives me that old school reality show vibe where it's like, could be wrong, but I feel like it's more real people instead of like or recruits that they're like, oh, they have big social media following, they're micro influencers,
it's people who love the game, like they're really emphasizing it. It's like, I know Survivor, like I don't think anyone's like been like, I never heard of Survivor, like, and obviously they could make it up because like they do that on Big Brother too, where like they find out about it like a year before they're on the show, so then they're like, I'm a fan. Like, I love Dan. I'm like, is that the only season you've seen?
Yeah, exactly. Did they show you that hotel room when you were sequestered? That's cool, but like, good gameplay trumps that for me. That makes better TV, and it makes real drama, real reality TV. Yeah, it's all scripted. It's all Brother's one of the only ones that you can't script too much because it is filmed. When they leave
in the diary room, they can feed them stuff, but like,
I actually did see that statistically the viewership of this season of the challenge is down.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, the amount of people that have left already.
It was so good. It was pretty good in the beginning, though. It was
good and for like crossing over. But basically, we opened with more drama from the tribal council. So Deshaun continues with Shan. And also
he's not feeling it, but he tries. He keeps trying, and then the minute he tries, she pulls the same thing again. It's like, it's definitely just y'all are not people that get along. Like, you clash socially or whatever, like you just clash. The personalities
they're not connecting, and like it's a different thing than like Ricard and Shan, where like Deshaun straight up like has already had issues with her from the beginning, whereas at least Ricard's issues are more like easy to kind of just forget about, I guess, whereas Deshaun is like, you're not listening to me, like blah blah blah. And I don't really even think it's like about her listening to him. It's more just like
they just don't agree.
Yeah, and like everyone else just kind of doesn't say anything. Danny's doing something really smart right now, and Liana kind of too, where
they're playing
he's not really saying anything. He doesn't want to side with Deshaun. He doesn't want to side with Shan.
But Shan seems to have more pull, so they end up going with her, but they don't say that like that to Deshaun's face, where it's like,
because Deshaun kind of called Danny out. He was like, you guys just kind of stand there and like don't say anything. And Danny didn't really respond. He was just kind of like, I mean, we have to come to an agreement sort of thing. So
like, I mean, we're in a group.
So that kind of happens.
There's a little bit of fallout.
Heather gets called out by Nasir.
And she didn't vote for him. She literally voted for Tiffany.
Once again,
she didn't lie.
The sleeper hit of the season, Xander, comes out with another great play, pitting a vote on Heather by voting for Nasir.
He's like my winner pick at this point, for real.
Xander or Ricard, honestly, at this point.
Ricard started to win me over. I don't know if I'm biased, but it was the hard of hearing thing. I have a son that is hard of hearing, and he was born that way. Unlike Ricard said it came as a child. Well, my son came out the womb that way, but I was like, I feel like that's kind of like, I had a friend that was hard of hearing too, and I feel like she came across kind of bitchy, and that's kind of how Ricard came across. So I feel like I misunderstood him, and now that I know that, I have a better idea, and then I just am like, I fuck with it. Like,
it's an extra level of difficulty that people aren't having to deal with. And I think the fact that Ricard has kind of been able to manage this far, obviously he's had, experience, reading lips, like dealing with it, but like in this situation specifically, something like misunderstanding what someone says can be very detrimental, and I feel like he's done a very good job managing it. So I did appreciate that. The art of Shan
starting to get me. I was like, Xander, I never hated him, but I didn't love him. Ricard, at one point, I was kind of like, I really don't like him.
It. And then now I'm like completely flipped. Both. Xander and Ricard now I really like. Shan, Liana,
They just lose me more and more each
Deshaun even, like,
Deshaun.
the only one in that group that I really like besides Ricard is Danny. And that's
Mhm.
because I feel like Danny's playing a smart game of being in the middle right now.
He's just like a solid overall like player.
Competitively, mentally, I think that he's very sound.
I just think he's very tuned in, and he's very he's not overly emotional, and he's just sitting pretty
right now. Yeah. No one's
And I-
really talking about him. And I think the fact that Shan approached him with the alliance kind of solidified that he's gonna make it far.
yeah.
Obviously
He's
until something
radar,
happens.
doing good.
Yeah. So let's move on to the daily challenge, I guess, the immunity challenge. He basically, there's 2 different tribes, and
Blue and yellow, basically split it up halfway.
says that
So
the winner of each tribe will be safe, but the winner, whoever lasts out of everyone, will win chicken and beef stew for.
And as a vegetarian, I was like, damn, I don't think I could go on this show. I would literally be like, even if we won that, I have to eat freaking rice, because the stew made with both chicken and beef is going to be like, sometimes I'm the type of vegetarian that like I can eat around the meat. So maybe I kind of eat potatoes or something, but it's going to be soaked in multiple meat juices and sauce.
That's kind of like what they do. They get fish, or they get meat, or it's like fruit and rice. Like that's pretty much it.
That's all I could live off of. And I honestly, like, probably great diet. Like, I would really lose this baby weight, but I would be, first of all, hangry as hell. And second of all, like, it's like that. It's like, does that really make me want to win? Like, that's,
it's the thing of like, Survivor is really like a show that it's not for people who don't know what Survivor is. And also, like, they run through like several health checks before you even get there, because they know that your body's gonna get, either malnourished or
they've
all sick.
They've all lost a ton of weight. Even the people that were super tiny, like, you wouldn't think in 17 days you would see that much, but it's obvious.
Shan and Liana have gotten super, like, so much more thin than they used to be. Heather and Tiffany.
Even Xander's
like, gotten really thin. He was like thin. Pretty decently like sized before.
Very like average fit dude, and now like a little emancipated looking.
Yeah. You can kind of tell, like, some of their clothes are starting to like look bigger on them, like.
And then also it's just like, that's what makes the competitions almost harder, because they don't have to be that hard, because you're already in a state of like utter exhaustion. So the little bit that you're doing, you don't even have the energy for it. And so it's like, it's interesting. It's a totally different challenge. That's part of the situation. It's kind of like when you're on slop. It's not because they want.
What I was gonna say. Like, I feel like the only way Big Brother would be comparable would be like if you're on slop the entire time. Basically, they are standing on like this, like, probably like an inch or 2 of like wood on their feet. Yeah. And they have to like hold this bar for like support. And a lot of people drop really quickly.
Everyone made it past 10 minutes. We got to 10 minutes, everyone was up. And it wasn't long after that people started. But I really feel like some people, like even Nasir, that was like couldn't move and whatever, like, or Danny, I feel like he had a muscle spasm because he kind of back. And like when something like that happens, like that's literally your body. He did everything he could. I feel like they all did.
Yeah.
Honest.
That's why. So we'll just keep going. So for Team Yellow, Erica ended up winning, but she ended up dropping.
Was like, yeah, girl.
So it left Deshaun and Xander on the blue
which
team.
Meant the blue team was gonna
automatically
win but it was who's gonna get the advantages. Liana's sitting there like, no Xander, and I was honestly really rooting for Deshaun, even though like I like Xander. I just felt like he was the underdog in that moment. Like I expected Xander to beat him, but I was proud of how close Deshaun kind of got. Like I was like, you could upset this. You could, but it wouldn't be an upset for like Liana and her side, but it would be an upset for me. And I really thought he might do that, but ultimately Xander won.
Xander ended up winning, so he has immunity from the challenge as well as the idol, which kind of threw a wrench in Shan's plan of
she was pissed.
voting in Erica and Xander because they're like all on the beach and then they just kind of like leave. They literally say it out in the open, like, let's
It
go
was
up there and talk.
it was
I'm
bold.
like, that was a bold move. And the fact that no one called her out for saying that,
No, Scott, that's what I was gonna say. If I was Erica,
I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, why are you?
Okay, so if we didn't already know, now we know. Got it. Have fun.
Like, I don't care how obvious it is. Like,
Have
you
fun.
don't do that. That's so like.
That's such a cocky move. It was like the same as later on when Nasir was like, well, I'm closer with them, so it sucks, but Heather, you got to go home. And I thought he was kind of being like mean about it, but I really think it was kind of a misunderstanding. He did mess with her because they were originally on the same team. So he did have a slight relationship with her, but he was still mad at her from the other, whatever. But it was really truly what he said. I'm closer with these people. So unfortunately, I'm going to vote you. We have the numbers. You're going to go based on what I know at this moment. It was kind of messed up the way he said it, but it was true. But it was like, that was kind of like when they decided to go off and do that right in front of Erica and Xander. It was kind of like, we know we have the numbers to the point of, I'm not even going to try to be like about it. I'm going to throw it in your face.
That's why I kind of like
it's
the
cocky.
underdogs of Erica, Xander, Heather, Evie. Like, I liked all the underdogs. And so that basically leads to we get to the tribal council at this point, right? Yeah. The first tribal council is for Team Blue. Yellow.
So mind you, we've never watched Survivor before. Scotty has like now since like went behind my back and watched like at least an episode of the first season of
Survivor. I didn't get very far. I just saw the opening, but I thought it was really cool.
Whatever. Anyway,
I just wanted to see like the first season, just to see the vibe.
I feel betrayed. No, I'm just kidding. It's fine. It's fine. But I just think it's fun when we watch it together because it's like, I feel like that's why.
It's because we can talk about it and like the reality, like we have seen pretty much all the reality shows. We haven't seen like everything, but like
we have a good grip. But then we
on the
also
like history, the knowledge, the evolution of reality TV. Whereas like,
but also,
I
would say the other aspect that I would add on top of it is we are family,
mm-hmm.
but we have a big age gap. I was 8 when you were born.
Age gap, yeah, and also difference of opinion on a lot of things.
We connect as people, and we connect a lot on morals and blah blah blah, whatever. And we're, Capricorn, Virgo, like earth sign, like connect for sure. Definitely we click like that, but we do have a difference of opinion. So it is very interesting to see how we both take in seeing something for the first time and talking about it.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. I really do, because I will always like, he's got to be on the same page as me. And Survivor so far, we're pretty much on the same page, but the challenge, no.
Big brother, hell no. Like,
hell no. So
I think the only time we've been on the same page, like completely, was for The Amazing Race.
Yeah, or just like in general when it comes to Franzel.
You're right. But like, I think for the most part, we've been on the same page. It just like took time for both of us to kind of catch up to each other. Cause like I originally was very against Ricard from the beginning, where I feel like you and like I liked Xander at the beginning, and
I
you
never
were kind of flipped.
I thought he was like goofy.
Yeah, he seemed very like archetype of like the surfer dude, but then
he gave me JD vibes.
Oh,
you know what I mean? But he tricked me. Yeah. He was more strategic and mastermindy than that. And JD was a big fan, and he, I'll give him, he got
swindled too easily.
Just a little sloppy and too young for some people that like overtook on him. And I thought Xander gave me the same vibe, so I thought it would be the same outcome.
Same thing like Tyler, where like Tyler was the first person I think on Big Brother to have broken like the ditzy stereotype, and like he was able to play it off like well enough. Like I know like I'm not a huge fan of Tyler, but I will say like watching him for the first time play, it was very weird seeing someone who's typically out first make it to the end.
That's true. And I do believe he deserved the win of that season. So yeah. Just like Paul. It was a Paul moment at the end. It was like a vindictive why he didn't win, because I'm sorry, Casey did kick some butt at the end, but overall Tyler ran that duo and she wouldn't have been there without him. She wouldn't have gotten to the point where she started to win without Tyler. And
also you win more competitions when there's less people in the house. It's easy to win when there's only 8
talk
people
about
left,
that.
you know.
Anyways.
Anyway, so not to discredit her, just saying like the situation. So
hard because I looked her up and she's a freaking Capricorn. So I'm like, she's LGBTQ plus, she's a woman, it's a Capricorn. I should be like, yes, she won. I can't get on board with it. I can't, and I feel like maybe in person we would get along, but on TV it doesn't translate for me. Like I'm not a big fan. I don't hate
that's
her.
why I feel like that's how I feel about Josh. I feel like I would like Josh like in real life. He's probably really fun, but like
he's a Capricorn
on the show. I'm so back and forth where like I hate him and then I like him and then I really hate him, then I really like him. It's just,
and I feel like it's hard because his season of Big Brother is a rough season. The side that he was on, the things that he did, and how sloppy he was in the beginning, just such a like emotional wreck and stuff. It gave us going in, and the fact that he didn't fully deserve his win in our eyes. Like it was one of those vindictive wins. Like these people were so mad at Paul for really getting over on him, that's kind of why Josh won. Not to say that he didn't deserve to make it decently far, because at the end, he aligned himself right. He was aligned with Paul and Paul was great. So he did that, but the win, I don't know. But then on Big Brother, it is edited, or not Big Brother, the challenge, it's edited, but like, I do see growth. I feel like this man has grown up, and I feel like maybe, he isn't as bad as we thought he was. And that's why he has kind of won us over. And then there's been moments where I'm like, I liked Fessy more on his Big Brother season, but on the challenge, no. And then it's like when they're together and one is wrong, I'm like team Josh. So then I'm like pulling Josh, and
it's just a weird dynamic seeing
it's
like
so weird. It's so weird. And even when I follow Josh on Instagram and I've watched his live streams and stuff, and like, and all these vets love him. Production must love him. They bring him back. He's really close with all these vets and whatever. That's just like, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Like maybe I like it. Like maybe I do. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
But so okay, the tribal council. We start with Team Yellow. So
yeah. This is
good.
This is good.
Going into it, I am fully expecting Heather to just be a complete goner.
I had a little bit of faith, but I was like, they're tricking me. No, that's too good.
Basically, the vote comes out and it's a tie. And immediately I know that we both were probably like, what happens? Like, what's going on? Like,
that's also when I said that we are new to this. Me seeing Tiffany still be there, I knew that was.
I didn't know what that was.
Yeah, but I wasn't fully aware, like, does she get to talk, or is this just her watching? Clearly it's just her watching, but I was like, okay, let me fill this out. Like, this is me getting through a season. This is the next step. What does this mean? Like, I need to see it.
I honestly didn't even know Survivor had like a jury phase until they mentioned it. Like,
I didn't know either.
Like the merge and stuff, I thought was just like now it's individual, but I guess that's like when like they start like the jury. I don't know how the winner's crowned and like the voting and how that works.
Yeah,
but, like,
I literally don't know. Like that's the thing.
It's like, kind of something that I'm looking forward to. It's like Amazing Race. When we watched Amazing Race and we were finding out, like, obviously you had seen like a season before that, but like finding out like what the twist was, like what this meant, like how it worked. I really liked figuring it out while I was watching.
Yeah, so that's also kind of why, like, yes, I don't know how it goes and I could look it up and find that out, but I want my real reactions to this. I want to see it. Like, I'm learning, and it's so refreshing, you know, like some of these other things, like we've been there, we've seen it, we have an idea. Yeah, they put twists, but like, general idea. This, it's like, I've known about Survivor. My dad watches it, which I actually found out a couple years ago that he's like watched it. And I'm like, Neil don't watch things. He watches reality TV. Now I have a better idea of why he did like this.
I think it's the most popular because of how old
how long it's around too.
And it's very accessible. It's very easy to just like put on the show. They're trying to outlast each other. That's really it. Whereas Big Brother, like,
They change it up all the time.
It can be changed up like, oh, this is the battle of the block twist, or this is, you know, the power of veto competition, and you're like, what is that?
It's like Survivor's the only one that's really stuck to like the
the
initial
bare basics of the rules.
Yeah.
The votes come out and it's a tie, and immediately
I'm like, what does that mean?
well, also like Nasir not playing his idol, I thought was kind of a not smart decision.
It wasn't, but they really made him feel safe. And to be honest, if I was him, I probably wouldn't have played it either. I would have been like,
he
I
was
don't
very
need
very
I need-
confident in himself, which I think
yeah, the
they
biggest
kind of played into him being like, he's safe, like he's not going to use the idol on Heather, like why would you even ask me that? And I think it got to his head, and
Yeah. it did what it was supposed to do.
Shan and Ricard definitely planned the whole Shan voting, like the extra vote where she split the vote and voted for both of them. I think
Well,
see
they
where the
want
votes lie.
To a tie. They're
Yeah,
like,
they
at the
wanted
very
it to be a
top, we're gonna
tie.
tie, and then we can totally vote him out.
Yeah, but it was just to make sure like the votes fall in the right place if it's a tie, and then we send out Nasir, because it sounded like everyone voted out
With it,
Nasir.
oh, that was the first time Ricard has really put his foot down, and it went the way.
Because to be honest, like some of the reasoning like Shan has to getting rid
too
of
personal. It's
makes
not
no sense. It's like, we need to get Heather out. She's more dangerous. I'm like,
how.
then Nasir, who has an idol,
Yeah, how is that? I'm not getting it.
and like, okay, I get like oh, Nasir's more loyal than Heather will be, but it's like at this point, it's like you got to vote people out. Like, and if you can have an opportunity where he's not using his idol and you can vote him out, which
This is the
really
time.
good.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they
so, like Heather's not going to win over other people. Like just
Heather isn't one of those things where it's like here I'm talking about Big Brother again, but in Big Brother where they're like, okay, this person isn't a threat, we can manipulate them, let's keep them along. She isn't, no offense, but I don't think she's the type of person where it's like that's going to be a mistake down the line where they're going to come around, it's going to come around and bite you. I really think that when they want to, they can kind of get rid of her.
Yeah, and I think
so it was okay to do that. It was okay to put it on the back burner because it's not going to come bite you in the ass. I really don't think it is.
It being a tie was a neat surprise, and I think
it was fun.
A little bit more drama. Nasir was kind of shocked.
He was blindsided, which was fun to see. It was a little sad though, because I was like, I know he's such a big fan, so I kind of felt bad. But how cocky he was towards Heather made me go, I kind of want to see it bite you in the ass, like you know.
It's the same thing of Liana 2-3 episodes ago, where like originally I was on board for Liana to steal someone's idol. I was like, let's go. And then when Xander pulled the whole like trick on her, I was like, I kind of want to see you like mess up now. So then the second tribal council happens, and we pretty much know how it's going to go. It's Xander and Evie versus Deshawn, Danny, and Liana. So Evie basically gets sent home.
I had hope. Well, I basically had hope because Xander pulled the same shit he pulled last time. He kind of pulled the like mysterious, like F with me if you want, and then he didn't, and he hoped that they wouldn't call his bluff, but they did call his bluff, and ultimately, Evie went home. She was blind.
It was a little ignorant on his part to not think.
At this point, they've caught on. Like you tried it already.
Well, also, it's like who are they going to vote for? They're not voting you. You have immunity, and they're not going to vote themselves.
Yeah, you're right. Or maybe at this point he was kind of either, I don't know. I don't think he's that stupid. So I feel like he really thought he could pull one over on them again, and he didn't. But my only other thought is that I don't know. I think he made a mistake. Maybe he just was like, I want to keep her, but I know where my position is and I need to save this for myself. So I'm going to attempt this little Hail Mary. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's the best I can do, but I'm not going to use my idol because I really need it for me. I'm still bottom of the totem pole. And now that she goes, I really am.
Yeah. I feel like Xander has been killing the immunity challenges. Had he competed in last week's,
he could have won.
He could have easily won.
Easy.
And I think Xander is really like, I feel like he's already all-star material just on how much he's dominated the competition. If not for the moment with Liana, winning competitions, like being able to manipulate outplay people, and like
even when you're socially not up, you're not.
Yeah, he has been wanting, like, people have been wanting him to get out since the beginning. And like,
yeah, he's been a target from day one, pretty much.
And the fact that he's been able to manage this really because he's won the idol. And I remember at first he was kind of like,
you could equate this to a James
a
or a
Janelle,
Big
a
Brother,
Rachel,
or
someone who is able to win out even though they're up against the wall.
it's like that roach you can't kill, that the bug that just doesn't die. Like, because the minute you think you got them, they win something where they're not even an option, and you're like, again, like, that's it. And I hope that he can like socially get himself in a different place, because I really think, like, at least in all these other games, if you don't socially get yourself in a better place, eventually, you know, the cards don't always fall in your favor. You're gonna lose something, and that's when they can get you. But I really want to see him go super far. So I hope that he like changes it up a little socially. Whereas if he does lose, he can still make it. He loses that idol, he can still make it. I wanna see that. I am a big fan of him. And Ricard really wants a damn episode.
Xander and Ricard right now are my picks.
Oh my God, love them. And Shan irritates me more and more, and I still am like, she has like a mist on these damn people.
Yeah, it's like I kind of feel about her how I feel about Helen and Amanda from season 15, where like I liked them at first, and then they got to a point where I was like,
no,
why are these people listening to them still? And it's like,
but it works, so then you have to
give it. So I'm like, I'm rooting for you because you're doing well, but like
against all odds, against me looking at you and me thinking, if I was in this environment, you could never, I would be like, bitch, you lying. But it's working. So damn, give them their flower.
That's this episode. We did see a little bit of a teaser. Again, along with Sean and Shan.
It's Shan, I think, I don't want to see it, but I predict, unless he wins immunity, I think Shan is going to get him cut.
If the roles were reversed and Deshawn had an immunity idol, Shan would be going. But I think because she has the immunity idol to still hold over people, as well as the extra vote power, she's like,
no, she used it.
Oh, it's not like a recurring thing?
I don't think so. Is it? Shit, I don't know. See, I don't know these things.
I don't think it is.
I think it's
right. I think it was only a one-time thing.
Used it.
But that was this episode of Survivor, episode 9. We're gonna watch, or not watch. We're gonna discuss the challenge and we're gonna discuss
updates on some major drama, and we just have things to say. So we can't wait for next week of Survivor. But if you want to see those things, those videos will be right after this one's posted. Regardless, I just think, you know, you're really gonna need to like, comment, share, subscribe. Like, what's up?